right, let's do our top 5 horror comedies this week. Which, yes, this could be endless. So,
and Joe, if you go back and watch this, put your top 5 in the comments.
Yeah. Yeah, so right now it's 9:07, so maybe he might be in that panel or doing something. I don't know what they're doing. It's got to be over by now, I would think.
It's got to be over. Usually on Sundays they end early.
Yeah, I would think so. But yeah, so our top 5 horror comedies. So, like I said, I went a little nostalgic because I mean, there's a plethora of them. So I just went back to my youth and some cheesy. Actually, there's 2 that's really fucking cheesy, but they were like a staple of my youth from the 80s. So my number 5 is Saturday the 14th.
We were just talking about that.
Richard Benjamin, Jeffrey Tambor, God, who was the hot God, who the hell was the hot friggin' vampirist in it? I can't think of it right now. I forget. But
was it Gina Davis?
Was it Gina Davis in that, or was Gina Davis? No, Gina Davis wasn't Gina Davis.
No,
in
she was Transylvania 65,000.
Yeah,
I get the 2 mixed up a lot.
Yeah, so which is going to appear on this list? Because that's another staple of my youth. Yeah, so if you haven't seen Saturday the 14th, it's very, very cheesy, but it's a lot of fun. It's definitely it oozes 1980s.
Nice. Number 5 for me, and I don't think this movie gets talked about enough, and I recommend everybody going back to revisit it if they don't remember too much about it. And it's James Gunn's Slither from 2000 and 2006. 2006.
All right, right in the middle. I was right there in the aughts, real close.
Yeah, if people are wondering why that movie, when they used to have the Fangoria conventions, the Weekend of Horrors convention, they would always be promoting like a new movie or 2 there. And if you were in the first few rows, you usually got to meet the whole cast or the crew, whoever would be there to promote the movie. So I met everybody from this movie. I met James Gunn, and this is before James Gunn was doing Guardians of the Galaxy, and he wrote Dawn of the Dead. I met Elizabeth Banks. Look at how big Elizabeth Banks is now.
Yeah.
Michael Rooker, Nathan Fillion, Greg Henry. And Greg Henry, I talked to him about Body Double. Obviously, he's a big part in Body Double. And he was also in Payback with Mel Gibson. I love that movie. But there's a lot of people in that movie. Michael Rooker. Oh, God. Bottom line is when I met these people, they were shit-faced. They were fucking drunk.
Nice. Makes it even more fun.
And Michael Rooker, it was when I was wearing a fedora. He's like, "Oh, come here. This is the way men hug." He gives you this big hug. It was so freaking bizarre. But in all seriousness, though, I love the movie, though. Jenna Fisher was married to James Gunn at the time. Jenna Fisher, who is a pretty big name. What was she on? The Office, I think.
The Office. Yeah.
She was there because she was married to James Gunn at the time, and she's in Slither. So go back and check Slither out if you haven't. It's a lot of fun. It's an alien plague comedy. It kind of gives you Night of the Creeps vibes. It's almost like a new Night of the Creeps movie. I bet you you James Gunn had some Night of the Creeps fandom there to make that movie. And I didn't have Night of the Creeps on my even my honorable mentions. I probably should. But sorry,
Dude,
I'm going on a tangent.
The slugs are with Lincoln. The slugs are with Lincoln. They both have the slugs.
Yes. So that's a good point, Bill. So
Slither.
It's
on my list.
Slither, let me tell you, man, Slither is, I love that movie. I love Slither. And I even wrote a song. There's an Everskate song that's based on the movie Slither.
Really? Okay. That's cool.
Yeah, look up the song The Urge Commands.
Is that on YouTube?
YouTube, Spotify, it's everywhere. Yeah, it's called The Urge Commands. You might not get it right away because my guitar player, I told him when I was writing the song, this is many years ago. This came out in 2010, that record. And I told him that that's what the song was based on. So my guitar player went and watched the movie. He came back and he goes, I don't know how this song's about that movie. I don't get it. But I'm like, dude, I found a deeper meaning in it. I was like really digging into the character of Michael Rooker's alien character and like what he was thinking and how he felt and shit. So that the urge commands, like his urge commands, like he can't help it, So that's what the song is about. So go ahead and listen to it and see if you can get it, But
okay,
I thought I'd throw that out there. The Slither, I love Slither.
Awesome, dude. That's cool. I'm gonna check that out. I wrote it down here, bud.
Yeah, me too. I gotta check it out.
And we still play that song live too. Play it every week at rehearsal. One of the ones that have survived.
Survive the revolving.
Well, we got so many songs, you can't play them all. So you pick a few off for each record, and you keep rehearsing those because those are the ones you're going to play, and the other ones kind of fall by the wayside, unfortunately. But that's one of the ones that we still jam regularly.
Cool.
Very cool. Nice.
All right. Well, I didn't know this was kind of last minute. Didn't know I was going to be filling in for Joe, so I didn't even know what your top 10 was.
Oh, my bad.
Until you guys just started doing it. So I just kind of threw a real quick list together of what my, I'm sure I'm going to be forgetting movies here, but I'm going to say my number 5. Let's go with Shaun of the Dead. That's one of my top horror comedies of all time. We just watched it the other day.
Watched it the other day.
Awesome revisiting it. Yeah, I was with you guys. Remember, I filled in for that too.
Yes, indeed.
So yeah, that's. I mean, what more can be said? I mean, the movie's hilarious.
Bill came out of the bullpen for that one.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That was fantastic. That was. It's a great movie. I mean, it's another one that never loses its luster. You could watch it. You watch it when it came out. You watch it now. You laugh just as hard. It's. I think it's one of those ones that's gonna stand the test of time. You'll be able to watch it 20 years from now and still die laughing.
Good one. Yeah, I enjoyed it. I hadn't watched it in a while, so it was a lot of fun watching it on Tuesday.
Same here. I had been meaning to watch it. So when you guys were gonna have it, I'm like, yes, it's a reason to watch Shaun of the Dead again. And then when you had, I'm like, fucking hey, all right, now I get to talk about it.
So Shaun of the Dead.
Nice. Yeah, Shaun of the Dead.
Yeah.
All right. So my number 4, actually, we mentioned it before. Bill mentioned it before. Transylvania 6-5000. That was a big 80s movie for me. That was a big VHS movie. Actually, it used to be on HBO all the fucking time. So for those who haven't seen it, check it out. It's got Jeff Goldblum, Ed Begley Jr.,
Kramer.
It's got Michael Richards in it. It's got John Biner. John Biner, and what the hell is the maid's name? I forget her name. She was the one that was in When a Stranger Calls, and she was Locke's wife on Taxi. What the fuck was
Carol Kane?
Oh yeah,
Carol Kane.
Yes, Carol Kane.
Yeah,
the mom from License to Drive.
And Gina Davis
with ketchup and potatoes.
And Gina Davis was hot as hell in this. Go watch it just for Gina Davis. She was hot as hell.
Get a meter next month.
Honestly, that's what I always think of.
Yeah,
that's what I always think of. Transylvania 6-5000. You think of that shirt she had with the boobs half hanging out.
Oh, yes. Yeah, so yeah, good movie, man. That's a good 80s, good movie for my 80s days, my VHS days.
Yeah, baby, yeah.
What do you got, Brady?
Number 4, I am gonna go with Zombieland, the first Zombieland. On a side note, that was the first movie I saw after I got home from my honeymoon. But my wife loved it too, so that was kind of the whole story. But I just like the comedy aspect with the zombies, the Twinkie thing. Woody Harrelson, like a lot of people don't like him, and obviously I might be biased because of Kingpin. This movie, Cheers. He's great in this movie, and Emma Stone. This is the hottest I've ever seen Emma Stone in these movies. Even the second one, I gotta watch the second one again. I remember just thinking it was just okay.
It was okay, yeah.
But Jesse Eisenberg, because he's usually annoying as hell with me. But
he was tolerable in that film, and the whole freaking scene with Bill Murray is worth the price.
Bill Murray, the Ghostbusters, Zombieland's awesome. Zombieland rules. I'd be surprised if there's too many people that don't like that movie, but I'm sure there's some people out there. So
just get out.
Travis.
Yeah, some people.
Travis, hi, buddy. Look at
Travis. Travis, where you been? We haven't seen you, man.
What's up, Travis?
Late to the party. Idle hands. Jason goes to hell.
Idle hands. Oh my God, idle hands, Travis. I totally forgot. Thanks, man.
Arachnophobia, Zombieland. He'll count Halloween in 2018. Nice. Yeah, I forgot. Truth be told, I forgot about Idle Hands.
I did too. I think that's the hottest you see.
And we did a watch along for fuck's sake.
Yeah, we did.
I completely forgot. What about you? What's your number 4, Bill?
All right, for my number 4, I'm gonna go Return of the Living Dead, the first one.
I think you're gonna hear that.
I hit the fucking brain.
I mean, one of the best horror comedies ever made. I mean, it's I love that fucking movie. It's
so much fun.
Good, so good.
It's on my list.
There's not a bad part.
It's coming. It's on my list.
Here to
and then Tarman. I mean, Tarman, one of the most iconic zombies. We were talking about Bub earlier. He's one of the most iconic zombies. Tarman, amazing. Such a classic zombie. Love that movie. I fucking our boy from Jason Part 5. Demon. What's his name in this one again? I forget. Another one word.
Trash.
Name.
Trash.
No, Trash is.
Isn't he Trash?
Trash is. No.
Oh, it's Trash was the girl. Was the girl? Was
yeah.
What the hell?
Damn enchiladas.
What was his name? Spider? Was it Spider? Maybe.
Maybe.
I know he played Spider. Usually, most of his movies, he has a one-word name.
He's a one-word name.
But man, he's hilarious. When she first starts taking her clothes off, oh, she's taking her clothes off again. He gets better, right up in front, starts dancing.
Get some light over here.
And then my favorite line from him is when they go down and they see Tarman and they escape and they all run out and they all keep running. And he turns around and he's holding the door and he's the only one and he's beating the door. He's like, "Help me, you stupid fuckers!"
Oh, so
yeah.
For those that are just tuning in, go watch our watch along. The watch along was awesome.
And Darren and Frank's best and worst of I told them both when we were at age 45. That's my favorite best and worst they've ever done. It's hysterical. So if you like their stuff too, Slaughtered Lamb, watch their best and worst video of it.
Right. So my number 3. So now
Bert, we have sort of a problem. Sorry.
Exactly. Bert. We're
gonna call the boss.
Bert.
Sam Chops had those last week. Had those for lunch.
I'm going extremely low budget, extremely deep into this one but this is a movie I found, I think on Cinemax late night in the early 80s. It's probably one of the first horror parodies, and it's Student Bodies.
Oh my God!
Wow. I was just
Student
Bodies.
About that. Yeah, Pat, you're getting really, really personal here.
Yeah, Student Bodies. I love Student Bodies. I remember I could never find it anywhere, and I recorded it. I think the first time I had it, I recorded on a VHS. I think it had to be like off of Skinemax late at night in the early 80s. But for those who've never seen it, it's so cheap. There's nobody famous in it. It's so low budget, so cheesy, and it's a spoof of Halloween. And the guy's called the Breather. And he walks around. He's got the green rubber gloves on, and he's always breathing. He's like, why are they always upstairs? And he's walking up the stairs, creeping. He steps in the gum. Why are they always chewing gum?
Bert.
And the best is I love the shop teacher. All he's talking about is making horse head bookends.
Oh God!
Yes. Somebody gets killed with the horse head bookends, and the guy and the girl talking, and I loved his look. He's like, talking horse head bookends.
That's such a coincidence. I was just playing Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the video game on Friday night with my band, and my guitar player Alan brought that up. He's like, "You guys remember the movie Student Bodies?" And he never brings up movies like that. He's like not a big. Like I tell him a horror movie, and he's like, "Oh, I don't know." Like he's very horror movie illiterate. But out of nowhere, he brings up that movie, Student Bodies. And I'm like, God, I haven't seen that in like probably 30 years, And I was getting it confused with Return to Horror High. You remember that one? George Clooney was in it.
Yeah,
one of his first movies ever. And Marsha from the Brady Bunch. Yeah, I kept getting it confused with that. He's like, "No, that's not the movie." And he'd say a scene, and I'm like, God damn, I gotta watch that again. I mean, I remember Student Bodies, but it's been
it is so cheesy, low budget, but it's so much fun.
Yeah, I gotta check it out again. I've always remembered the poster. That's a classic poster with the chick laying on the desk like that.
I used to have it. I used to have the poster.
Heck yes.
I had the poster. I actually sold it years ago. I actually had the poster.
Pat, that's impressive. You had that poster, huh?
Yeah, I actually had the poster.
Wow, man.
That's awesome.
What are we at? We at number 3?
Number 3. What do you got for number 3?
Oh, I'm with Bill. This is where Return of the Living Dead falls in my list. And yeah, I'm so glad we did this watch along. This is one that I'm sure we'll repeat watching again. We're gonna have our share of ones that we'll repeat for whatever reasons. And this is probably be one that falls in that category, right?
This is a repeat, so I'll spoil it because Return of the Living Dead is my number 2. So I'll just spoil that.
There we go. Man,
that's my number 2. Love it.
This might be our only one that we all three of us have. I'm thinking. I'm pretty sure this will probably be the only one.
This was a big move in the 80s for me because, like I said, the whole soundtrack was like that was in the 80s when I was into my punk rock skateboarding phase. Mm-hmm. It had the TSL on there. So I had the album on. I had the vinyl soundtrack, and it's just so many good memories of that. So so much fun. Yeah. So what do you got for number 3, Bill? Because I figured that was my
I always wanted to cover that song. I always wanted to do a death metal cover song of Party Time, but I want to have a chick singer actually sing the vocals.
I like the other one.
Joe Moody sing it.
Burn the flames.
I want to hear Joe Moody sing it.
Well, let's see. Let me put some hair on my head, and I'll.
Bill, you're gonna.
My number 3. My number 3 is Evil Dead 2. Dead by Dawn.
I do like Evil Dead 2. I do it. I'm not gonna.
It's a horror comedy, 100%. The guy's doing 3 Stooges to himself. His hand becomes possessed, and he beats the living shit out of himself with all the dishes. That scene is so fucking hilarious. I mean, how could you not laugh at Bruce Campbell? He's hilarious.
God, yes.
That's a few bad horror comedies that he loves are Dreamcatcher, Shane Black's The Predator, and Cabin Fever.
Man, I really fucked this up. I put 2 number 4s, so I'm gonna have to put that as one of these as an honorable mention.
Oh, now you're fired.
Get out.
So I already said my number 2, Return of the Living Dead. So
number 2, I've talked about it many times. Peter Jackson's Dead Alive, or also known as Brain Dead. It's by far horror comedy. It's the goriest fucking shit. He's over there. The rat monkey. He should come back out.
Yep.
Was the rat monkey.
Him. Go grab him.
He's our friend. Yeah, we got to grab him. He's here. There
was a really gnarly one in 2014 called Cooties. I remember Cooties.
That's good. Yeah, Cooties is a good one. Elijah Wood.
Yeah.
There he is. There's the guy. We've talked about it. We need to watch Dead Alive.
We should. Yeah, we could add that.
Dude, this guy, Bill knows because Bill messaged me. He's like, hey, check this out. I'm like, yeah, it's actually coming tomorrow.
Went off to do some other shit, including work on the stuff for his own channel, and it came back and we're still. That's it. Once we start talking and drinking, it's usually a marathon. We're at 2 hours.
It's usually a marathon
right now.
And Pat knows I'm.
Well, there you go, Jordan.
Welcome back.
Neither do I.
Yeah, we're still. So what's everybody drinking tonight? I got Yingling Oktoberfest.
This Hefeweizen.
Yeah, just old style.
Nice.
Yeah, Bill, this is an interesting place.
Yeah, Dead Alive. Now you just need the baby now. You need to get a figure of the baby.
And I really wish I could put Bad Taste with it too, because they're kind of both the same for me, because Bad Taste is really
but I always like Dead Alive way more than Bad Taste, in my opinion.
And then we don't have to talk about Beat the Feebles. I won't even put that in these categories. That's
that's way off the rails.
But Brain Dead, Dead Alive, yeah, dude, it's one of my favorite films. Such a gore fest
for sure.
It's great talking to people that are Lord of the Rings fans and Peter Jackson. Like, you got to see some of the shit he did before Lord of the Rings. It's fucking wild,
dude. And I love that he still acknowledges it. Like, he doesn't try and dismiss it.
No.
Like I said before, I think we talked about this when you showed me that rat monkey. If you watch Peter Jackson's King Kong, in the background, you could see a cage that says, caution, rat monkey. So there was a rat monkey on the boat.
Did you ever see his acceptance speech when he won for Best Director for Return of the King, and then it won Best Picture? He's like, yeah, I just wish my movies like Bad Taste and Dead Alive would have had some recognition.
Really?
Well, I'll tell you, in these parts, everybody I talk to loves Dead Alive. Everybody I talk to loves Dead Alive. People I wouldn't think even knew what the movie was. We're like, you ever seen Dead Alive? Like, yeah, you did? How do you know what that is?
Dude, and that's a country that my wife and I have always talked about visiting. We always hear great things about New Zealand. Pat, you probably have too, right? Everybody says
New
Zealand.
I'd love to go to Australia, New Zealand. I'd love to take a trip down under.
And I think he still lives there, if I'm correct.
Intended.
He's still, I don't think he lives here. I think he lives there still. So he's.
Here you go, Brad. Here's a little nugget for you about my buddy Craig. You know him. He when he was a little kid, when he was a young kid, his dad got offered a job in New Zealand. And they thought they were moving there. And he came to school and he told everybody, screw you guys, I'm moving to New Zealand. Like, he's out of here, you know? And then come Monday, he's still in school. It's like, what the fuck are you doing here? I thought you said you're going to New Zealand. I didn't get the job. So, but all these years later, he's not really huge into the superhero movies, but he went with me to see Deadpool 2. And that kid in there, he's from New Zealand, and he talks with the really accent there, you know. And after the movie, Craig goes up to me, he goes, "Man, I guess all these years later, I'm glad my dad didn't get that job in New Zealand after all. I'd be talking like this dickhead. I need to get my revenge."
New Zealand, you met. Oh God, and he didn't leave. Oh man, I couldn't say that if I didn't think it was going to happen. So you must have busted his shot for a long time.
School and talked shit, and then here he is Monday. What the fuck are you doing here? I thought you were out of here.
Like, screw you guys, I'm going to New Zealand.
Totally. When that episode came on, man, I thought, oh, here's Craig right here, going to New Zealand.
Oh man, so you got a number 2, right, Bill?
Yep, my number 2, the movie I watched today. I'm going with Creepshow. I mean, it's more horror than comedy, but there's a serious comedy, you know, overtone through the whole thing.
Oh yeah, I would say so.
That's why it's higher on my list too, because it's more horror, and the horror comes first for me. That's what makes a good horror comedy for me. If you're still scared, you know, there's still good. Not scared. I'm not scared of it anymore. But at the time when I was a kid, even the poster for Creepshow scared the shit out of me. I remember seeing that poster in the video store. I'm like, I ain't watching that thing. Now it's like one of my favorite posters ever made. You know? Yeah.
The scene where
it's more horror than comedy.
Painful,
it's still funny too.
He used to scare the shit out of me.
It's so well done. Yeah. So well done.
Matt Gonzalez just pointed out about Blood Diner. So Blood Diner.
That's a good one.
I watched it not too long ago. Can you not? Yeah. See, Pat's never seen it, and Sean Clark's never seen it because I asked Sean if he was ever going to do a
Sean never saw it either. Wow.
Sean's never seen it either. I was like,
it is a little obscure. It is kind of obscure. It is compared to most horror movies.
Wait for that Dead Alive long sleeve shirt to come in from Gutter Garbs. Fucking sorry.
But I do always remember seeing that box in the VHS store back in the day, the Blood Diner with the little hand and the neon with the knife.
With the neon with the knife. Yep.
Yeah.
Or Dead Alive with the mouth opening up.
Oh, of course.
Well, I went to the obvious, but I was trying to think of like what made me laugh the most in a horror comedy, and of course, it's got to be the first Scary Movie.
Wow. That's your number 1, huh?
It's got to be, yeah.
I love Scary Movie too. That's the one I like a lot.
To me, when that came out, it was like it was a culmination of like a lot of the ones from my 80s that I showed you, but done better.
Wow.
Yeah, I haven't watched it in years. I remember I used to love that movie. I got to rewatch them all. My wife was so into them. I bought her every Scary Movie, even the Charlie Sheen ones. I haven't watched those in years.
Sheen started doing what, 4 and 5, or was he in 3 too?
Yeah, he was like the last couple. Yeah.
Okay,
I barely remember those.
Pat's a Scary Movie. My number 1, I always considered a comedy. It was one of the first I ever saw. Was House from 1986, babe, or 1985.
Oh man! See, I just threw this list together last minute. Yeah,
I honestly forgot about it. Yeah,
that's a comedy. I'm sorry, that's a comedy. There's
for sure. Again, it would be at the top of my list because it's more horror than it is comedy, but it has that comedy through line throughout it. You know,
through line through it. Yes, when you got Richard Mole in there, and then George Wendt.
Oh man, George Wendt. He comes over with his spaghetti and shit, and he's gonna stay up till midnight and watch the door with those goggles.
I think I really got to go back and watch House 2. I remember liking it, but not as much as 1. I don't know, Pat. Maybe we should do House 2. I know we did 1.
We did 1. We could do House 2. I would do that. We should
maybe do House 2, and maybe I'll watch it ahead of time to see if it still fits in. Yeah.
Tales from the Hood had some good moments in it too.
Oh, Tales from the Hood.
The best part about House 2 was the bad guy. The older I am, the bad guy was pretty cool with his big mustache. You know, it's like something you don't really see in movies. A rotted bad cowboy, like a cowboy zombie.
pirate looking dude. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
He's all black and burned and shit. Yeah.
Yeah. But I remember just the one thing that took me out of that movie always was the green caterpillar dog thing. It was like, it's so cheesy.
Oh yeah, yeah.
My wife, that's her favorite part, though. My wife, that's her favorite part of the movie. She loves the movie because of that thing, you know.
Oh yeah. What's your number one, buddy?
Are we up to number one now? You guys did your number ones?
Yeah, number one.
Those are number ones.
All right. Well, then my number one is An American Werewolf in London. Great movie.
Yeah.
It's definitely a comedy. Definitely a comedy. It's horror first. It's mostly horror. But I laugh the whole movie at the same time, especially every time Jack pops up.
Yeah. Sorry, I called you meatloaf.
He gets worse and more rotted each time he sees him.
As
that last time he sees him in front of a porno theater, he's like, "Are you kidding me?" Just the look he gives him. And then that's one of my favorite movies of all time, and it is my number one horror comedy ever made.
A naked American man stole my balloon.
Landis, baby.
Yes,
yes.
What?
What a good film, too. What a good film.
No, it's one of the best. I love that movie. Love that movie.
Good stuff. That is our top five.
I wrote about that.
That's our top five, man. Everybody can throw some more in the chat. Throw some in the comments afterwards.
You got some honorable mentions, Pat, really quick?
You can throw some honorable mentions out there. Throw them out there. To me, I got to have Night of the Creeps.
Night of the Creeps. Scary movie, too. The whole opening with James Woods, the whole Exorcist stuff. And
oh, yeah.
Chris Elliott, take my strong hand, child.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. No, take my little hand. It's much stronger.
Repossessed.
Technically, I guess it would be number 6. I had Army of Darkness. Army of Darkness is so fucking good. I'm sorry.
I consider Army of Darkness way more a comedy than horror. I consider Evil Dead more horror than comedy. I consider not Evil Dead. Evil Dead was just horror, but Evil Dead 2 was straight up horror comedy. But yeah, Army of Darkness is so slapsticky.
Well, Bill, I think you said, I know Pat and I love it. You're next. That's almost a fucking comedy, right, Pat?
You're next?
Yeah, I got to rewatch it. I love that movie. I haven't seen that in forever. I got to rewatch it.
Or what do you call it, too? Chopping Mall.
Right. Chopping Mall. Oh, good one. I've missed Chopping Mall. How about People Under the Stairs?
Part of that movie is Dick Miller.
Dick Miller just
one scene. Yeah. People Under the Stairs. That's a comedy to me. I'm sorry. It is.
Yeah.
Well, Dick Miller's in Night of the Creeps too. Remember? He's like,
yeah.
He's like, you have the proper forms. Then he sitting there loading the shotgun, and he's like, I was like, I guess you don't have the proper forms. Well,
Yeah. I love that scene because he laughs at her. He's like, what I need is a flamethrower.
Flamethrower.
Yeah.
Pat, did this subject come up because of Beetlejuice? Because Beetlejuice fits right in there, obviously. I assume that's how this.
Because I was trying to think, and I know Joe is off at the gas station. And I knew you were busy, so I was like trying to think of something. And I just write all this shit. And people suggest this stuff, so I just wrote it down. I'm like, well, I just saw Beetlejuice. What about a horror comedy? And that's basically what it is. I mean, that right there is an honorable mention to Beetlejuice. I mean, for fuck's sake.
And thank you for wanting to do Michael Keaton too, because that's just, we all like Michael Keaton. Who doesn't love Michael Keaton?
One of the best.
Frighteners and Happy Death Day were my other ones. Sorry, those are my last.
Happy Death Day. I had that actually on my list, and then I just moved a couple things around, and it became an honorable mention. But I love Happy Death Day. I thought that was funny as hell.
Could we call The Burbs a horror comedy? I don't know if I'd call it.
Yeah, because it is. It's it's more of a comedy than horror, but it's a comedy with horror elements. Just like I was going to say, Death Becomes Her,
like a dark
Bruce
comedy.
Willis
or Gremlins, right? Maybe Gremlins. Well, Joe Dante. So yeah.
What he calls a dark comedy too, like Neighbors. You ever see Neighbors with Belushi and Aykroyd? That's like a dark comedy, like horror dark comedy.
Okay, yeah, it's all a matter of opinion. Maybe that's probably why I thought Burbs is more comedy. That's why I didn't have it on the list. I was just
it's a comedy, but it's dark, with horror elements.
Yeah.
So instead of calling it a horror comedy, call it a comedy horror.
Because if I had it on my list, it'd probably be number one if I considered a horror comedy. So
Cool. So that is our top 5 horror comedies. Come on, throw some in the chat. Throw some in the comments afterwards. Thank you for watching That Horror Movie Podcast Top 5 Ranking. We do a Top 5 ranking every Sunday night live on That Horror Movie Podcast, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, live on this channel. So make sure you subscribe to the channel, get all the notifications. When we go live every Sunday, and we go live every Tuesday for watch-alongs, and sporadically here and there, and all sorts of other videos along the way. So if you like music, comedy, horror, any of that stuff, this is the place to be. Keep coming back and watching our top 5s.